So here we are. Already the Six Nations squad is out and Wales will be playing right at the end of January. So not long, only a couple of weeks before we see the boys face France. Really interesting squad, this one. There's a couple of seriously, questionable omissions and some players in that we might not have been expecting. This is usually really an exciting time for me. I love this part of the Six Nations when we get the squad out. I know it's been a bit bleak recently, but hopefully this squad is the one to turn it around. Let's go through it and we'll have a little chat about what's been going on. So starting with the forwards as usual, we've got Kemsley, Mathias, Nicky Smith and Gareth Thomas. No real surprises there. Corey Domachowski misses out again. Then the tight heads is Henry Thomas, Will Griff-John is the surprise there, and Kieran Azarati. I guess that's more around the fact that obviously Leon Brown has retired and Archie Griffin is out with another serious injury. Then in the hookers, this was an interesting position because we didn't know who was going to be available. We've got Elliot Dee, Evan Lloyd and Sam Parry. So interesting that Gatland's gone back to Sam Parry cap in hand, and he's obviously accepted his invitation to come back into the squad after what happened in the summer. I was a little bit surprised at that, but you can't really blame Parry for wanting to be back in probably his last chance to really represent Wales. So I'm not too disappointed with our hooker group. Maybe would have liked to see Brodie Coughlin in there, but no issues with Sam Parry being in there. I'm really glad to see Elliot Dee back. And then the second rows, we got Dav Jenkins back in the squad, Will Rowlands, Freddie Thomas and Teddy Williams. And then Chris Ginger is the in-between. And then the back row is James Botham, Tommy Raffel, Jack Morgan, who is the captain, and Talupi Faletau and Aaron Wainwright. So great to see Faletau back in the team. Moving on to the backs then, we got Rodri Williams, Ellis Bevan, Thomas Williams. I really don't understand what Ruben Morgan-Williams needs to do to get in this squad, but that's what he's gone with. Really interesting in the outside half. Dan Edwards makes the squad, which I'm really chuffed about. The only other outside half cover then is Ben Thomas. No other outside halves. No Gareth Anscombe, and obviously Sam Costello is ruled out for 12 weeks after he went off on Friday against Gloucester. Such a shame for him, but maybe a break away from Wales might do him good in the long run. But yeah, that is wild. Only one real outside half there. Then in the centres, we've got Joe Roberts, Owen Watkin, Nick Tompkins, Eddie James. So he's gone back a little bit to the tried and tested. And then the back three, we've got Ellis Mee, who's going to win his first cap, Josh Hathaway, Josh Adams, Blair Murray, Tom Rogers and Liam Williams. So that is the squad. It's a funny one, to be honest. There is a couple of really noticeable omissions. Cam Winnett, for one, is a massive one for me. I think it sends a horrible message out to Cam Winnett, to be honest, who's been sort of in and around the squad and the main choice at 15. And now Liam Williams is available. He's dropped him straight away and just left him out of the squad completely, which I don't agree with. I think it sends the wrong message, and we want to continue to develop Cam Winnett because Liam Williams is only going to be around for, I don't know, however long, not very long, another couple of years. Then another really surprising omission to me anyway was Gareth Anscombe. I actually made a video last week talking about the outside halves, and I said I'm not even going to talk about Gareth Anscombe because he's by far the first choice 10 and he is the number one option for me, and he's not even in the squad, so it just shows how much I know. Don't listen to a word comes out my mouth. Then Tame Plumtree was another surprising one to me. He's been a favourite of Gatland since he's come to Wales, but maybe his discipline has been an issue, and maybe Gatland sending a sort of message to him. Rio Dyer misses out, which you can kind of understand. Feel a little bit bad for him. He's struggled with his form recently, but I would have liked to see him in the squad, but I've got no problems with Ellis Mee being in the squad because I think he's been really good this season. And then the other one is Max Llewellyn, who was the main sort of centre over the last autumn games, and he's missed out of the squad altogether, which is a strange one to me again because he's been in form for Gloucester. Gatland did actually touch on this in the press conference. I'm going to take a couple of quotes from Gatland, and I got these from the Wales Online, so cheers for that, boys. He says, quote, I've spoken to him in terms of that. For him, it's probably the opportunity to get more touches and get his hands on the ball. He didn't get any touches against South Africa. He's got to continue what he's been doing. There was a lot of discussion about the midfield and getting experience in there and trying to get a real balance in the team. So he's basically saying that Llewellyn has gone a little bit missing at times, which I do kind of agree with in certain games. But it's really hard to judge him on that South Africa game where when did we have the ball in that game? Do you know what I mean? How can you say he's not getting touches on the ball when we haven't had the ball? So I think that one's a little bit harsh. And again, it sends kind of the wrong message to me because you're bringing in like the same like Tompkins and the older heads and leaving out a potential player who's going to be there for the World Cup. And then on the absence of Anscombe, again, taking this from Wales Online, so thank you boys. He said, quote, "The big point we've spoken about was 10 is being in a position to develop some depth. Looking short term and long term, getting some experience in that position. He's 33 now and he'll be 36 by the next World Cup. Will he be around? We need to develop some depth." Again, completely understand the thought process behind that and agree in that sense. If there was some other experienced player in that role, we don't have any experience in that role. Ben Thomas doesn't play 10 for Cardiff. I don't care what Gatland tries to do. He doesn't play 10 for Cardiff. He plays 12 week in, week out. He plays the odd game maybe once or twice a season at 10, and he played 2 games in the summer. It's mind-boggling to me how he's gone with non-cap Dan Evans and Ben Thomas, who's played there twice. I don't get it. To me, he's lost his mind at this point. I think he's just under so much pressure. He doesn't know what to do. But that's just my opinion. I'd be interested to see what you guys think of this one. I think leaving Jared Evans out is a mistake because he offers a little bit of an older head and more experience. Not the amount of caps that Anscombe has had, but he could be around till the next World Cup. He's just not gone with him again. So this is a real strange squad for me. There's obviously a couple of talking points have gone on about Anscombe. Then you've got the likes of Will Griff-John coming in, only played a handful of games. I think he's had 1 start for sale all season. Whenever he had an opportunity for Wales, never really did anything with it. But I guess you can understand with the injuries that are in that position. I would have liked to have seen Rhys Henry in there, but he didn't. He was supposed to play last weekend and didn't end up starting. So I'm guessing he's had an injury. Otherwise, he might have been the option. So you can't really blame him for that. Obviously, we talked about the Sam Parry situation. Good to see Dav Jenkins back in. No Adam Beard. There was talk that Adam Beard might be fit for the end of the championship. He's not on the squad, so we'll assume that he isn't. And then the back row, where Plumtree is the one that misses out, and obviously he's left out Basham as well, which is no real surprise, but he's the other name you could have said. Maybe his performances have offered something, could have offered something for Wales. And then the backs, great to see Josh Adams and Liam Williams back in. Tom Rogers is probably looking like the heir apparent at fullback now that Cam is out of the squad. Blair Murray keeps his position at his spot, as does Josh Hathaway. A little bit surprised about Hathaway, but he has been playing well for Gloucester, and maybe he just needs some more time in the squad to continue to develop. And then Ellis Mee, like I said, been really impressed with him all season. I spoke about him when I was on the Attacking Scrum podcast. He's just a really good, tidy player. Doesn't make mistakes. Always seems to do the right thing. Defends well. Is very young as well, and he's got a little bit of size. So I wonder if that's what Gatland's gone for. I think he's about 6'2", and he's gonna get bigger because he's, like I said, still so young, and he's gonna fill out a bit. So I wonder if Gatland is going in there and capping him also, because he could play for England. He's also eligible for them. The centre is a little bit thin for me. If you're going to assume that Ben Thomas is the 10, because he's been named with Dan Edwards as the 10 cover, if he's not going to play him in the centre, then that only leaves Joe Roberts, Eddie James, Nick Tompkin, and Owen Watkin. I like Owen Watkin, but I don't want to see a Nick Tompkin, Owen Watkin centre partnership. Will we see Watkin and Roberts again? Pardon me. Or will we see the Scarlets combo of James and Roberts? Sorry. I don't know. What's he going to do with Ben Thomas? Is he going to still see him as a 12? Apparently the best back in Wales at the moment. I don't really know. So it's a strange one. It's going to be interesting, that first team selection against France on the 31st. There is the makings of a good core of players there, but I think it's just some funny squad selections, and it's been a bit like this for the last maybe 2 years, year or two. Every squad comes out is a bit like, that one was a bit weird. But this is the weirdest one to me. I would really love to know what your thoughts are on the outside half position. I love Dan Edwards. I'm one of his biggest fans. I literally said before the autumn I wanted him to be in the squad. Obviously he was injured, so missed that opportunity. And I said in my last video that I really want to see him play, but I wasn't just expecting him to be the only outside half in this squad, and that puts an awful lot of pressure on him, because you probably assume that he will probably just go with Ben Thomas to start and bring Dan Edwards off the bench. But I don't know. I mean, if there's a player in the regions who's got the sort of swagger and the confidence to pull it off, certainly is that guy. But I just think not surrounding him with some more experience, someone to learn off like Anscombe, it just makes no sense to me. But that's the squad. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you on the next one.